Hi everyone. So the purpose of this tutorial is to show you how you can set up your own production environment. And what that means is that you can build a website kind of like this, duckwatch.net. And if you look at a website like this, over the last few days, on Monday we had 607 visits. On Tuesday we had 7,919. That translates to around 2,500 page views. And if you're thinking in terms of dollars, this 2,500 can roughly translate to around 10, maybe $10, $15, which is great for something you just build and wait and sit on. And that could come down to anywhere around 1,000 plus a month, depending on how much traffic you can get to your website. So, how can we do this? One of the biggest things is, so you may have some HTML, CSS knowledge, you know how to build some websites on your desktop, but in order to monetize it, or in order to let other people see it, you really need to have your own production environment. You'll need to figure out how to set up your server, how to set up your, how to buy a domain name, how to connect the two, and then you can actually get started with building your website. And so over the next few minutes, we'll go into how to set up this environment. There are 4 things that you'll need. You'll need a website idea. You'll need a domain name idea. You'll need a credit card and budget around $30, and you'll need HTML and CSS knowledge to get your site actually built. If you're just watching this video to see what's going on, of course you don't need any of these things to watch a video. But if you want to follow along with the steps, then you might want to prepare these beforehand. So the first thing to do is to purchase your domain name. And when you're purchasing, the first thing you'll run into is the fact that your domain name has already been used. So for example, say I wanted to build a website called December.com. And you'll see right away that it's kind of taken a while, and then bam, it's all taken, every single type of December. So what do you do now? Well, one of the things I like to do is I like to use this nifty little website called impossibility.org, and you just type in something, and then you say add whatever to the beginning, okay, or end, and you hit search, and then it'll actually find ones that have not been used yet. And so we got like Sly December, that could be interesting, it could work. Tan December, maybe you want to tan in the December, I don't know, but this is a great place to take your ideas, and if they're taken, generate a domain name. After you've chosen a domain name that's available, you have to go ahead and register it. And I like to use Namecheap. This is the same sort of service that GoDaddy provides. I think that Namecheap is a little cheaper, and it's also a little less mainstream. I just kind of like the feel of Namecheap, although it's kind of terrible. But yeah, so I would recommend Namecheap. And so you want to search it. You after you get one that's not taken, you add it to your cart, and then you purchase it. It's pretty logical. I'm going to go ahead and log in. So after you've purchased your domain name, you're going to want to be able to access the name servers. And we'll go back to that in just a bit. So the next thing you want to do is you want to purchase server space, and then we'll link the two. I don't recommend purchasing server space. Usually server space associated with a domain name provider, like GoDaddy will let you purchase server space, is not that great because they're not really in the business of providing a good customized server configuration. And so the service that I will be recommending today is Webfaction, and I think they're absolutely amazing. I've definitely gone through a few. I started out with Bluehost, and that's kind of your bare bones, mass-produced, kind of like your Walmart style hosting. Webfaction is kind of your Target, maybe a little better. Target and a bit of a boutique feel kind of hosting. And you'll see with the plans and services, they aren't that cheap. You'll probably be paying monthly, so around $10. But what they provide is really great. And I'm hosting quite a bit of sites on just their initial configuration right now. That 2,500 hit. So sign up here. You got to fill out this kind of information. And so after you sign up, you'll have your account. And to log into your account, you go to panel.webfaction.com. So now we're going to set up CollegeThink, which is that domain name. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to your login. You want to get to your information and change the name servers. And so what name servers are is they tell your domain name which server to point to, basically. So right now my domain, college.think, is just flying away somewhere on the web. Right here. So it's kind of at the default, I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to log in and change that to something that makes sense. And so you go to manage domain names and you go to your domains. We got it here. Okay, college.think is the one I want to modify. Processing. And then you want to click on transfer DNS to web host. And it says you are currently using our domain name service for your domain, and we're going to specify custom ones. So for WebFaction, that's NS1, NS2, NS3, and NS4, and all their .webfaction.com. So now we save these changes, and it usually takes some time. So you really should budget a couple hours between when you register a domain name, when you start setting up this end, and how long it takes for it all to get processed. So I don't think we can expect for it to be done at the time of our tutorial, but this will just guide you through the steps. So then the next thing you want to do is you want to go over to webfaction.com and you want to log into your account. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to set up, now you have to set up a couple entries. The cheaper servers will set that up for you. All you need to do is sort of click a few buttons. But this really, I think, gives you a medium level of understanding of what's going on behind the scenes, so that it's not just all kind of like magic. Just checking the time right now. It looks like we're around maybe a couple minutes. So the first thing you need to do is set up domain. And this just kind of, you need to kind of set up in both places. So this kind of tells our server to expect your domain. And so what we'll want to do, and you'll see that we've set up a couple, is we want to put a name to it, collegethink.com. collegethink.com. Does that match with this? collegethink.com. Perfect. And then we'll want to add prefixes. So you got here, so look at this, webfaction.com. You don't have to worry about this stuff right here. That's kind of the directories that follow. But this part right here, the panel, is called a prefix. And so the default panel that you'll always want to have is a www. And then if you want to add a more, like say I wanted to add uva.college.think, kind of like a UVA specialized site, you can do that too. So I'll just do both here. At this point, you don't have to worry anything more about this kind of the domain name and the name servers. Everything is now on this end because it knows to point to this server. So now you're setting up the server. So now after you set that up, you want to set up an application. And the application is where your code will go. So you've got this high-level domain name right here, domain area. So you're setting up your domains. And then you kind of skip to kind of where the content is, and that's where the website's at. And while you're doing this, it's important to think about what kind of production environment you want. HTML, CSS is just a static area, not much needed to go on there. If you like Python, I would recommend looking into Django. Quickly pull that up. I think a lot of you do know Python. It's basically a framework that lets you kind of do powerful things, and it's really helpful since you know Django. They have great tutorials. They have something called the Django book. And I would Google that. They also have Ruby. Ruby on Rails is another great web framework. And Twitter is built with Ruby on Rails. You can see some of the sites here. Groupon, maybe will be bought by Google for $6 billion. And then we've got PHP, which is just a basic server-side language. This is actually what Facebook is built with, PHP. So you want to set up your environment. So after you've made that choice, we're going to choose something called WordPress, which is what we use to build this website right here, duckwatch.net. And what WordPress is just a generic sort of custom built site. And all you have to do is choose a template and it kind of does everything for you. And this is just, you can do anything you want. And so we'll want to add a application. And here, okay, add new. And we'll call it WordPress underscore college thing. And then we don't really need any extra info, or we should choose this. So it's WordPress and add type. Just do the latest, create that. So now you created that. That's great. So now you want to link the two. So right now you've got the application and you've got the domain. The next thing you want to do is create a way to link the two actually within the server. And so that's where the website comes along. So you can call this website anything you want. We'll call it College Think. And then here we'll choose the subdomain this and use control-click to choose random ones. Let's also choose the www.collegethink. And we created these earlier. And then we'll want to add a site application, so that's what we just created. We want to add the WordPress.collegethink. And this tells us that when you go to collegethink.com and just an empty slash, so kind of like when you go to google.com, like empty slash, it'll go to this page. This application will load. If I wanted to say, go to maps, see how you add the maps here and then it goes to this page. So the same sort of thing. So if I wanted to have 2 WordPress installations, then I could add another one, and I would call, maybe if I wanted to load the duck watch, I could go like this, duck watch, and then it would load this application. So once we create that, everything is linked. We've got the entire development area set up. If we want to change an application, we simply have to change this, and then everything else will be connected. And just very quickly, let's see if it had the time to do it. I highly doubt it. Yeah, it hasn't changed yet. It'll take a couple hours to update, at which point you can actually see what's going on. And we'll pick off where we left off here in our next video, which will teach you kind of more about how to customize a WordPress installation.